Hi, everyone from every part of the globe.
Yeah.
How are you all?
Get your fingers warmed up. Chat box, chatting.
Exactly.
Chat box, yeah.
Chat box, chat. Let's go.
Requires interaction now.
Yes, we are getting people right. Oh, and hearts. The first hearts already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do some.
Yeah, I'm just going to.
Oh, it's Louise.
And whatever. I'm in a party mood. Hope
it's
you
so
are.
great to see you, though. I mean,
great to see you, everyone.
Yes.
Who have we got? Let's just say names and places for a bit.
Aurelia
Constantina from Greece.
From Romania.
Ukraine. Czech Republic. China. Lithuania. You help me, guys. Thailand.
Indonesia.
Turkey.
Hello, fellows. Welcome back. Miriam from Seville. Hello, Miriam.
Turkey.
Miriam, I'm in Barcelona.
Libya. Cordoba.
That's the Miriam Monterrubio, Lou. That's the Miriam Monterrubio. Our Miriam.
Miriam Monterrubio. Oh, Miriam.
Our Miriam. That's not just any old Miriam.
Croatia. Mexico. More Croatia. More Mexico. Germany. Oh, brilliant.
Loads of familiar names. It's great. Great to see you.
We need you guys. Yes. Welcome.
Good stuff.
Mexico.
Say hi. Well, yeah. Say hi to everyone. Peter Stevens.
Yeah, brilliant.
People can't see this. Peter Stevens. You said you're in Lapland. To hosts and panelists only. So you can't see audience.
Kazakhstan for the first time.
Someone's in
Poland,
Lapland.
Warsaw, Poland, my hometown.
That is brilliant.
Somebody lost their glasses, Will.
Yeah, I'm getting all the compliments, Greg. I'm sorry. I think. What does that mean?
Sorry?
It means that your glasses are more ridiculous than mine. That's what
it does mean that.
They're certainly shinier.
They are. I got them especially. They cost me £3.50 on Amazon. Actually, these.
Oh, there you go.
Well, last year I had a similar pair, but they were green with gold sparkles.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to put on a bit of tinsel this year.
Yeah. That's much more elegant, much more distinguished, Louise, today. All right, you two. As we pre-agreed, we're going to cut to the chase a bit sooner today. A little less chit chat in this beginning bit because we just get a bit carried away, I think, don't we?
All excited.
So we are going to be the grown-ups for this bit and start on time. Because we didn't last time. I didn't. It was my fault last time. So while my thing just waits and loads, here we go. It's ready.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some slides to share with you. Clicky, click, 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 click. There we go. Good stuff. Look at that. What an event. What an event. Oh, I know Simon's here because I can hear my echo. Simon, can you mute your microphone, please? Thanks. Much better. Simon's got a very special mic today. It causes everyone to echo to make it sound like we're in some kind of arena. No accident. Lovely stuff. So this is what we've got coming for you today. Jeremy Harmer, Fabiana Parano, Ben Crystal, and Simon Gfeller. What a show. We've already had this once today. And I've got to say, I really can't wait to watch it all over again. It's so fun and informative and passionate and loving and cuddly and musical and performance. And it's such a wonderful cocktail this year. And I really can't wait to see it all again. Before I do, I'm going to pre-answer a question that I'm sure is burning in all of your hearts. You're going to get a certificate of attendance. It's going to come to you in the next, maybe even Friday, but within a week. We promise within a week. Don't bother emailing before a week because we may not get to it before then. Christina, if anyone's got any issues with certificates, I'm going to put the email address here. Everyone can have it. Macmillan.
Good title.
Yeah.
In the meantime, hello.
There you go. So that's the email address.
Joining us. Yes. Lots of colleagues from Poland, I'm very happy to say.
Yeah. We always have lots of colleagues from Poland, Greg.
It's one of those countries.
It's just one of those countries.
Yes.
And Ukraine, actually. Ukraine is also one of those countries.
Yes.
Georgia, Romania, all of the Eastern Europe. It's very, lots of Eastern Europe. It's great.
We take, things very seriously.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Very seriously.
You've got I can see the reflection. You've got prescription reindeer glasses, which is going a real step beyond there. Okay, so you're going to get an email. It'll have your certificate and it'll have a goodie bag. If you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, you won't get that. You need to register to get that. So go to macmillanenglish.com. We've got a podcast. I'm not going to dwell on this, just in case you didn't know this. We've got about an episode every 2 weeks over the next kind of 6 months. Season 2's slowly being dribbled out to you. So go to this link on the screen somewhere. It should be in the chat box in a minute. Scan the QR code and you can go to Spotify, Amazon Music, and just search the Advancing Learning Podcast and you'll find it. That's me and Harry with all sorts of guests throughout the year. So do go and listen to that if you want a little bit of something in your ears on the way to work or in bed or I don't know, anywhere else you go. Simon, you're there.
Hello, I'm here. How are you?
Very well. And I've got that echo, that wonderful arena echo. It's sort of as if we're in the Colosseum or something, Simon.
I'm really sorry about that.
What do you mean you're sorry? It's amazing. It's a perfect way to start.
Is it very boomy?
Yeah. Okay, so
Fantastic.
Simon
It's great
is
to
awesome.
be here.
Yeah, it was great to have you again, Simon. Really, really great to have you. It's great to work with you again. I said it in the morning one. I'm going to say it in this one again. We worked together in Cambridge for a couple of years at a private language school. It was an awesome pleasure, and I'm so glad that we can transcend that school and we've carried on working together. It's an absolute pleasure to keep working with you, Simon.
I feel the same, buddy. I feel the same.
So you've got loads of things in your life. You're in Boston. That's not a thing in your life. That's just where you live. I'm sorry, that is just where you live. But you have got things.
It could be a thing.
Content strategy and educational innovation, a lead content design at ELSA Speak and ELSA Communities. Can you tell us about ELSA, please, Simon?
Yeah, so I've worked for ELSA for the last 3 years. It's a company that focuses on English, developing English ability using AI and technology. But what we also found out is that people want to work with one another, and rather than just using an app, it's important for people to be able to connect and practice with one another. So we also created a dedicated digital hub for people to connect with one another. ELSA Communities is still active to this day, so feel free to check it out. If you want to practice your English, ELSA is a great solution to look into as well.
Good stuff. Absolutely. I mean, if you think of it, Simon, feel free to put the link in the chat so people can see it.
I'll do that. Yeah.
All right. I think it's 3:05. We are bang on time, and I'm not going to jinx this. So let's just leave you to it. All over to you, Simon. Have a great session. See you in 20.
Thank you, mate. And thanks, Louise and Grzegorz, for introducing me. I will now share my screen, and we will see Louise and Grzegorz at another time very soon. I'm going to make sure I share with my sound so we're all looped in. Can you all see this? Can everyone see this? Fantastic. So, as I mentioned before, I'm Simon Gfeller. Delighted to be here. Thank you to Macmillan for having me over. So the subject of my talk is from the stage to the classroom. As an actor, opera singer, and voiceover artist, I'm also a teacher. And I wanted to do this talk today to talk about how you can bring language learning to life using some of the skill sets that we performers have at our disposal. And hopefully this will help with your teaching and help you with your students as well. I have 2 goals today. My first one is to explain how teaching and performing are related, how they share common ancestors and therefore have a similar genetic code at the heart of them. And the second one, my second goal, is to provide you with fun exercises, and we'll hopefully have some guinea pigs to help us with those today. So provide you with some exercises coming from different types of art forms that can take your teaching to the next level. So this is my hope for today. We have a very little time, so let's get started. I talked about a common ancestor. What is the common ancestor between teaching and being an entertainer or a performer? For me, that root skill set is storytelling, all right? It's the branching point from an evolutionary standpoint between how teaching and performative arts emerge, all right? Historically, when we go back in time, the same person had the same function, had that function of both being the teacher and the entertainer, whether it was a village elder or something else, but they were teaching skills, so tool making, hunting, gathering, and so on, but they were also using entertainment as a way of transmitting their culture, their tradition, their religious beliefs, giving meaning to community as well. And even on a biological, we've now discovered that oxytocin gets released when we tell stories. It fosters social units by switching on genes that have to do with caregiving and bonding. So storytelling is at the root of everything we do, whether we're an actor or a teacher. So that's our genetic makeup. These are our ancestors. Now fast track 2,000 years from that point, and we meet up with this man, Peter Brook, who was a director and was observing thousands of years of art history, and for some reason, he felt that everything we had built was sort of missing the point, and he wanted to boil it down and distill it back to the essential. And all of his work was condensed into a book called The Empty Space, where he basically highlights the fact that theater is about a simple dynamic, the interaction between a performer and an audience in the context of a story that's being told, whatever that story might be. He used a very famous sentence at the beginning of his book, and I'd like to sort of represent it for you here, okay? He says, I can take an empty space and call it a bare stage. As soon as a person walks across that empty space while someone else is watching, the rules of theater, or what is needed for an act of theater to exist, is engaged, all right? So this dynamic of someone being looked at, going through a space, that's enough for the rules of engagement, for the rules of attention and connection to be engaged. So what does that mean for us as teachers? Well, turns out we have an audience, our students, and we have an empty space, whether it's a digital one or an in-person one. And so therefore, the laws that govern the relationship between the performer and the audience also apply to us as teachers, right? It's a same rapport that aims to create an engaging and a memorable experience, and therefore it applies. The same skill sets are necessary. When you look at a teacher, you're looking at not just the content that person is going to be delivering, but the way in which, and we'll come back to this how a little bit later, the way in which that teacher is delivering, the use of body language, the clarity of communication on a pronunciation level, on a syntactic level, on a semantic level as well. How we modulate our voices, use emotions, even improvise. We'll have a little improvising experiment a little bit later on. And finally, how we think about format. So these are the skills that teachers and performers have in common and should leverage. And so these are the ones we're going to be exploring today. The first one, what is the most important communicative channel that we have at our disposal? Surprisingly enough, it's not the voice. A scientist called Albert Mehrabian in the 1970s told us that it's actually the body language, that nonverbal communication plays the most critical role in us processing and understanding emotion. 55% of the communicational bandwidth is attributed to body, right? And that's primarily on emotional landscapes or on topics or subjects that have to do with emotion. So therefore, the skill set of the dancer is important to us. Pina Bausch said, movements are born from contemporary life. So why don't we use elements of language and movements from contemporary life to experiment with gesture and develop our body language awareness? I'd now like to call on my friend Grzegorz and my friend Louise to join me on stage to do a little experiment. Hello, Louise. Hello, Grzegorz.
Hi.
All right. Are you guys ready to do a bit of dancing?
Okay,
Sure.
go first.
Fantastic.
Oh, my Lord.
So, first of all, I'm going to provide you with a verb, an active verb, okay? Probably in the imperative form that is used in everyday life. I'll give you something similar to stand back, for example. Your job is going to be to find a simple gesture to match that and take that gesture further from the everyday mundane gesture that it is into a dance movement. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, Louise, you're in charge of lookout. Can you think of a gesture that leverages or that expresses, rather, lookout for you? I love that. That's very dramatic. I love it. Fantastic.
How is she
All
going
right,
to make it
Grzegorz.
more dramatic, though?
It's very dramatic, and I love it. Now, Grzegorz, you're going to be in charge of move aside. Show me that gesture. What would that look like for you?
That's my slow one.
I want a dramatic one.
You want a dramatic
one.
one?
Yes. Oh, I love it. So there's going to be some swaying across the screen
yeah.
for the next 2 minutes. That's great. Now, I'm going to give you some music, and what I would like for you to see, for you guys to do, is to explore how you can move to that rhythm, having that action verb and the associated movement in the back of your mind as you do it. All right? All right, here's some music to inspire you, and here we go.
Makes my body dance for ya. Ooh, gotta get it. Ooh, makes my body dance for ya. Ooh, gotta get it. Ooh, makes my body dance for ya. Ooh,
That's a lot of work.
gotta get it. Ooh, makes my body dance for ya.
Okay, come on. They deserve a round of applause. Come on, emojis, everyone. Let's leave some notes and comments. I thought both of you guys' dancing skills were amazing and beyond this world. I'm really, really impressed.
Dancing and chair swaying. I have to...
I had a job not to get up from my chair.
Yeah, there you go. And so
Moving
this
all
is
over
how
the
we can tie elements of language to the body by using simple action verbs and physicalizing them. And then eventually this can make its way into how your students and how you yourself as a teacher use your body when you teach. How you can feel confident to go a little bit further with your gestures to bring impact to whatever you're delivering. All right? Another big aspect of the performing arts is poetry and theater. We bring in language into the mix because this is partly what we're interested in as language teachers, right? We're always focused on the skills that we're teaching, the topics, the grammar, the elements of language we're planning on teaching. But a question that I would ask to all the teachers that are attending this seminar today is, how much time do you think about format? How much time do you allocate to the way in which you will deliver the content you're supposed to be delivering? Because us as performers, that's most of our time that's dedicated to the how rather than to the what. In a play, the play is just the text. It hasn't come to life yet until it is being delivered in an artistic way, until it's been staged, interpreted, and surrounded with sets, lighting, costumes, and makeup. So this is something I would like for you all as teachers to sort of start to think about. How much time am I dedicating to the format of what I deliver? And that, from a teacher standpoint, also ties into this idea of style and persona. How are you going to develop as a teacher that communicates in a way that's more effective? All right. And to develop this, I like to do a little improvisation exercise with you both, Louise and Grzegorz. You've already committed effectively to the dancing here, so I'm very excited to give you an exercise. Okay, it's called the shared story. You both will alternate, all right, in turn to tell the same story. When I, the moderator, says switch, we change the person that tells the story, and you're in charge of continuing the narrative. Now, what's important here is the listening skills and this ability to anticipate, to be completely tuned in so that we can react and add value to what's been said before, all right? So here's what your topic will be. Your topic will be, my cat literally ruined my New Year's Eve party. First she, and then someone speaks. I'm going to ask Louise to start. When I say switch, it'll be Grzegor's turn. But until then, Louise, it's your story. All right? And off you go.
My cat literally ruined my New Year's Eve party. First, she leaped onto the table that I had set beautifully with all the best cutlery, wine glasses. I had bowls of fruit, and this
Switch.
And then she leaped right onto my Christmas tree, which of course collapsed, breaking all the beautiful glass decorations into tiny little pieces.
Switch.
And the Christmas tree came crashing to the ground, and I heard this scream from the cat.
Switch.
And then she went back onto the table and started licking at the different dishes that were there. And, you know, she started with the meats and then moved on to the pastries. And
Louise, you finish the story. Switch.
sorry.
And all I could
That's when it got
see
interesting.
were my guests standing round the table thinking, oh no, there goes our New Year's Eve dinner.
And that's the end of the story. Fantastic. Round of applause for our guinea pigs today again. You guys are crushing it today.
It's great.
So
fun.
this idea of continuing a story from where it has been started by someone else forces you to be completely tuned in and forces you to be adaptable. This is a skill that our students need in our conversations or in conversations they will have in real life, and also us as teachers to be really tuned in to what's occurring and what's happening in our classroom, in the tuition that we deliver. All right. So we've covered some art forms now, but now it's time to bring them in together. The total work of art. At the end of the 19th century, a very imposing artist called Richard Wagner decided to create a new art form that would bring all of the art forms together into one, where music, theater, singing, poetry, the visual arts, dance, all of them would contribute equally to what he would call a Gesamtkunstwerk, the total work of art. And in those total works of art, it is the story that is central, all right? I wanted, because I come from opera, to give you a sense of what Wagner's music sound like. So I will sing a little section of an opera called Die Walküre, and it's Sigmund's love song. Here we go. Winterstürme wischen dem Wonnemond, in mildem Lichtet leuchtet der Lenz, auf Lindenlüftchen, leis und lieblich, wunderwebend weht sich wild, durch Wald und Auen weht sein Atem, weit geöffnet lacht sein Aug, auf Silbervöglein Sonne süß ertönt, holde Düfte haucht er aus, seinen warmen Blut entblühen wonnige Blumen, Keim und Spross entspringt seine Kraft. So this is just an excerpt of what Wagner's music sound like. But what you can see here is an attention to the poetry, is a complete insertion of melody with word. And when you go to an opera play or a Wagner opera, you see this immense integration of every single art form. And I would urge you and encourage you to discover his music. Now, the performing arts are faced with a very strange reality. For the last 40 years, we've seen opera, art forms, audiences dwindle and diminish. In the last 40 years, ballet and opera attendance have gone from 5% penetration through the general population to below 1%. And the theater and the classical music, which were very, very vibrant in the 1950s, 1960s, have also dwindled down, and especially during COVID. But there's something else that's been going up, and that's the internet and social media usage. And so to sort of try and leverage this tidal wave of shift towards the digital form, I suggest that you, as a teacher, also explore what can be done. There's a lot of methodologies that can fit a digital format, and I would urge you to explore that. And to finish, I would like to just show you a simple use case of a school here in the United States and what they've done to encourage their students to participate in music and also dedicate time and effort to their education. This is a song called Hot Cheetos and Takis that was produced by kids with the help of professionals as part of what's called the Beats and Rhymes after school program in Minneapolis here in the United States. And what you will see here is a complete integration of singing, rhythm, dance, text, storytelling, all concentrated into one work of art. Is it a modern Gesamtkunstwerk? I think so. Let's have a quick listen to a section of Hot Cheetos and Takis.
Yo, I go by the name of Dane Jones. I'm with my crew, and we gon' show y'all what we be snacking on. You dig? Okay. Hot Cheetos and Takis. Hot Cheetos and Takis. I can't get enough of these Hot Cheetos and Takis. Got my fingers stained red, and I cannot get them on me. You can catch me in my crew eating Hot Cheetos and Takis. Pop. Snack, 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 crunch, snack, 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 munch. Hot Cheetos and Takis. Hot Cheetos and Takis. You can catch me in my crew eating Hot Cheetos and Takis. It's about a quarter.
All right. So this is an example of project-based learning that leverages music and art and theater and storytelling and rhythm and dance all in one, and that I would venture to say really encapsulate the essence of what we're trying to do as teachers, is to get kids or students involved in the material we're teaching. So I would urge you to start thinking about format more often and also embrace that digital change that we're witnessing now. So on that note, I'm at time. I would like to just thank you for your time, for listening to me. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn using this QR code. And I guess it's my time to pass on to Louise. Louise, I think I was right on time this time around.
Fantastic. That was fantastic. Well done, eh? Yeah. No, but the session earlier was fantastic as well. And it doesn't matter if we go over a couple of minutes. This is a festive occasion, and flexibility is always part of that, one of the ingredients. So well done, Simon. And I really enjoyed taking part. Thank you for inviting me to take part in those activities. I mean, it really does lift it off the page. And I think for me, and I think that probably a lot of people, you know, that nugget of wisdom when you say the same skills that are applied to performing as an artist, as a player, an actor, etc., should apply to when we teach. It's not about being the best, it's about thinking about the format in which we do things and how we do things, and introducing maybe some changes, bearing in mind the student being at the center of that. And wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's very important to think of the content that we're teaching not as the end result. Exactly. It's the starting point. It's the template upon which as we bring in our own individuality as teachers, and we're able to then make that content that can feel very dry at times just pop into existence and come to life. And that's when we really reach deep into our students' hearts, and we create a lasting impression, and stuff sticks. You know?
Exactly. And they come to life as well. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Simon.
No problem. And I hope I set the stage for Fabiana a little bit. So I'm going to let her take over and listen attentively, because I hear her talk is fantastic.
Thanks a lot, Simon. See you later.
Take care.
And welcome once again, Fabiana. How are you? How are you doing?
Hi.
Have a lovely
Fine, thank you.
On your hat. That hat has a bit of history, I believe. I believe you said earlier
it belonged to my grandma.
Right. Yeah.
And not the bow. The red bow is some Christmas ornament I've
Christmas
added
touch.
to it. But well, yeah, I have many of these articles I wear,
Yeah.
and but I've kept, and for our theater plays, they are very handy, and they say,
Exactly. I'm
"Wow,
sure
where
that
did you
you have
get
a lot
that?"
of props there with you. And I don't want to take any time from your session. I'm really excited to attend again. I think one sitting isn't enough, and I was really spellbound. And I hope, and I know, I'm sure that the audience will be spellbound by your storytelling skills and the way you engage with your audience and lift the text, the content off the page. So over to you, Fabiana. There's people
Okay,
have
thank
seen your
you.
bio, but they really want to see you in action. So see you later
Yeah,
and
that's the most
enjoy your
important thing.
session. Exactly. See you later.
So, hi everyone. So many people from so very different parts of the world. I'll start by sharing my PowerPoint presentation. Let me share. There we are. Just a sec that I have to move something from the beginning. There we are. So the topic of my talk is the long-lasting impact of experiential storytelling. And actually, storytelling is always experiential. It's not that this form of art that I do is special. It's usually experiential, and that's what we are going to work with today. What happens with our students, with the listeners, when a story is being told to them, right? So first, to start very briefly, that the storytelling is a very, very, very old form of art, that it existed before writing, when the majority of the population, the mass of the population could not write. There were stories circulating and around, just from mouth to ear and from ear to mouth, carrying very important information about they were like walking encyclopedias with all the necessary information for the community. Before printing, still, there were, although some more people could have access to reading and have learned to read, like even before books were spread all over the world, storytelling existed, and let alone technology. So the big question is, why and how has it survived, right? In spite of all these issues, why is it so enchanting to be told a story? Even when I tell stories to adolescents, this is something that I usually share, and they come into the room with their cell phones and in their hands and are like stuck to them. And when I see them, they're releasing their cell phones and just getting engaged in the story is like one of the biggest gifts that I receive as a storyteller. So why and how? And in my opinion, it all lies in the role of the listener. I mean, the arts and craft of a storyteller is to enable this that we are going to share to happen. That is to imagine fully. Your students, listeners, might look still or sitting still without any movement. Sometimes we ask them to join in and participate, and sometimes not. But even in those cases, there is a lot of movement in their heads and in their minds, and of course, in their souls, because they have this very important job to imagine fully, right, as the story is being told. So the listener is creating mental pictures, right? He is like the inner representation of what is happening and what is being told. Hypotheses about how the story will unfold, what will happen next, right? And as the story is being told and advances the plot, you discard or confirm that hypothesis. Also, opinions, right? It's not very nice to listen to a story that is opinionated, right? It's better to let them give their make their own opinion about how cruel this character is, how nice, how good, but not to be saying all that. Give them room to complete, and of course, feelings. Now, for all of this to happen, we have to go to the kitchen and the preparation of the storyteller. And the storyteller themselves should have imagined fully first. So if the storyteller sees, the listeners see. If the storyteller can hear the sounds, the music, the whatever, the breeze in the story, the listeners will. And if the storyteller feels, the listeners will as well, right? So this is something that it's very important to prepare ahead. That is the one of the most important activities the storyteller does, and the big preparation before telling a story, right? So with all this being said, I'm going to tell you a story. I'll stop sharing the screen. And something else I'll do is I remove my hat. I don't wear anything special. Actually, I usually wear black, blue, white. Today, white because of the back of my presentation. Because the idea is that if I want them to imagine fully, I don't want competitors or distractors, right? It's like, let them imagine. In that sense, it's a very austere and generous form of art. It's not that you have high protagonism as a storyteller. You want them to imagine, to create, and protagonism is on them. We'll go further into that. So I'll take a sip of water, and then when I tell online, I have a helper who helps me choose the story to be told, because I have so many stories in my repertoire, and say, what stories can I tell now? And there is this tiny little helper who's quite introverted and shy, by the way. And sometimes it's hard for him to come out. Oh, maybe he's happy and hoppy because of Christmas. Christmas is near. So what story shall I tell to all these teachers all over the world? Yeah, I guess you have to think about it. Yeah. Yes, thank you very much, Bunny. It's a story I've told to all ages and all levels. Right. So I'll start with the story. This is a story about an old man that every day at home he would put on his own white cap. Now, on top of his own white cap, he would put on 4 red caps. 1, 2, 3, 4. On top of the 4 red caps, he would put on 4 blue caps. 1, can you help me count? 2, 3, 4. That's very good. And on top of the 4 blue caps, he would put on 4 yellow caps. 1, can you help me? 2, 3, 4. And when all the caps were on his head, he would open the door of his house and walk along the street. Caps! Caps for sale! Caps! Hey, you man! Would you like a blue cap? No. Caps! Hey, good morning, madam. What about a yellow cap for... And he goes on walking and walking, but he doesn't sell any caps. Well, he's quite an old man, he's tired. So after walking, he reaches a big tree, very tall tree, and he sits down for a while. Suddenly, the man wakes up. Mm, 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 mm. Where are my caps? He was just wearing his own white cap. He looked to the right, no caps. To the left, no caps. He looked behind. Children, can you help me look for the caps? Where can the caps be? behind the tree. No. And then he looked up on the tree. And there he saw monkeys. And the monkeys were wearing his caps. There was a blue cap on a monkey head, and a red cap on another monkey's head, and a yellow cap. All the caps were on his head. Hey, you monkeys, give me back my cap. And the monkeys the man clenched a fist at the monks. Hey, you monkeys, give me back my caps. And the monkeys man was so angry. Hey, you monkeys, give me back my caps. The monkeys. So the man was so upset that he took off his own white cap and threw it to the floor. But you know what happened? All the red caps came flying down, and the blue caps came flying down, and the yellow caps came all flying down. Hate monkeys. And so the man, first, he put on his own white cap. Then he picked the red caps. Where are the red caps? Can you point to me? There? All right. Let's go then. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the blue caps. Thank you. Where are the blue caps? Can you point to the blue caps? There. Oh, right there. I can see them there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the yellow caps. Oh, they are quite far. Let's reach them. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for helping me. 4. And again, with all the caps on his head, he stood up and caps, caps, caps for sale, caps, caps, caps. Hey, children, students, would you buy a cap? And all the children say yes. And this is the end of the story. I will share again. Oh, can I find it? Share. There we are. Oh, there we are. Oh, thank you so much for for all the applause and comments and hearts and thumbs up. Thank you very, very, very much. The name of this story is Caps for Sale. Actually, it's got not a happy ending. The man ends up not selling any caps, but the students felt quite frustrated. So we have this adjustment of having the students buy the caps themselves. There is always a version of a story that you tell. You don't, otherwise you can read the story. A very nice follow-up activity that now we are going into that is to compare the oral version with the written version and the printed version and so on and so forth. But let's go on how to exploit the experience, right? How to exploit what the listeners, now when I say listeners, please translate students, what the listeners have experienced. And we are going to work with that, not with what we have done, but what they have done, right? So what we are going to turn and twist a little bit with our teaching purposes is, or exploit rather, is their experience, right? While the story was being told. It's the listener's creation and construction of a stream of inner images that what we are going to work with, right? That runs beneath the words during the act of storytelling, right? So it has already, now the story is theirs. Now the story, if they have built their images, I mean, if the storyteller has administrated the information properly enough for this to happen, they will have constructed something. So now the story is theirs, right? It's their own construction, and it's unique. Everybody has their own construct of the story. So what can we do? Very simple things. We can have them sharing this inner imagery that is all different and many times contrasted, right? And by this, I mean VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic images, right? Is movement and emotions with sounds and colors, right? And this can be done by speaking aloud, by writing, by drawing if they cannot write yet, by dramatizing. So I will ask you a question now about checking your inner images as the story was being told. So please answer through the chat box, and we are going to check that. And my question is, how did you imagine the man? I mean, but especially I want to focus on the clothes he was wearing. What was the man wearing, right? Now, I'm really interested in your imagination, and it's always correct. There is not a right, wrong answer here, right? So not checking comprehension, but what you imagined, right? So can you work with the chat box and let's see if I can have access to the chat box, and you let me know what. Let's see if I can have some answers. There was loose clothes. He was wearing all white. Peasant outfit. He had a shabby black suit. You see, shabby and cheap, where he was poor. Suit, an old man in an old denim overall, a shirt and brown trousers, an old shirt, maybe an old olive coat. What else? He Old clothes, warm clothes, shabby clothes, long white coat, countryman, warm pajamas. We're going into the street in pajamas. That's all right. A long man with old trousers and a large jacket, warm clothes, simple clothes, shabby suit, three-piece suit with a flat cap, a white shirt with blue trousers, old clothes, striped t-shirt. In my imagination, it was also a jacket, quite old, some old trousers. I can imagine an old man with shabby, skimpy clothes, perhaps, brown trousers, old brown jacket, cowboy hat, worn out. I love the cowboy hat. That is imagination, because we have an explicit white cap there on his head. And thank you for that. That means that I succeeded as a storyteller. And anyhow, you imagine that cowboy hat. I love that. I love the cowboy hat. The idea is that these are all okay, because I'm sorry, I'm not reading them all, because it has to do with their own inner world. When to create this inner representation of something, you must have, I mean, your own experience needs to interact here, right? So it's based on your own experience. Your own experience, what is your own experience? Your own story, right? So it deserves a lot of respect. It has to do with your identity, with who you are, right? So all the images are okay. And so that's why they are all different and varied. And this activity of sharing a few images is highly motivating because of contrast. They are all different. Actually, they are all completely different. There can be coincidences, but everybody's sharing their own views. Okay. So let's go on. So by sharing inner imagery, you can ask. In my case, in this case, we have just worked with a character. I asked about this old man and what he was wearing, but you can also ask about an event, especially the sounds in the plays. Here it's in Argentina, it's hot. So, well, why did you feel cold? Because you must be under a cold weather. That is not what is happening here. So it's interesting. It's always your story being entwined with a story being told about a place. What about the place? What about this tree, right? Did he reach a forest? Was it a street, a city tree? Okay, there will be plenty of differences there. And also about a feeling. No, I love asking, where do you feel that feeling? Okay, this man was hot and tired, but in your case, it was cold. In my inner image, he was hot, uh, and uh, and so, where does he feel it? What part of the body, like anchoring that, right? So there are many narratives occurring all together, and that's why they pay attention. It's the opposite of what we may think. The less we talk, the more they do, the more they complete with their inner imagery, and the more attention they pay. The secret lies more or less there, right? So and what is the aim then of this activity of sharing inner images? Is to bring to the surface and share the elements that has already made it a long-lasting experience because they had already imagined. So, and this will reinforce the indelible impact that listening to a story properly told has, right? And so it's really very difficult to forget what you yourself have imagined. You have, it's very difficult to forget one's own creation, right? We might be bombarded by info and of all kinds, but if you have composed something, it's quite difficult to forget it. So there we go for with our teaching purposes to what they already have. So the good news is that you don't have to prepare much, right? A material is you, it springs from them. And apart from saving some of the teachers' work, they learn more, no, or more long term at least. So in this case, this is a student of mine carried out this activity from Teachers Training College. She told a story and asked the students to draw different parts. This is quite guided because if not, everybody draws the picture or chooses or writes down or describes of highest impact. In general, everybody goes directly to the climax in the story, the highest tension. So the idea is that the teacher prepares. I usually like to work with 7. You will see now that there are activities to do, no more, and many times there can be 9, but not 20, right? So this is the teacher preparing what actions in the sequence of actions of the story, which are those that are going to be exploited. So here we have a girl drawing the man selling caps in the street. I love this one because it turned into a woman, the man finding the tree to sit down, and the last one, the man fighting with the monkeys, right? So I'm going to give these 3 as an example of possible follow-up activities very briefly, just a few. The first one is if you have 7 slots, 7 blocks, make groups of 7, have them together, everybody with their own picture, with their own drawing, and put the story in order, right? Apart from saving work from the teacher of doing all that on Sunday evening at home, it's acknowledging their creation. Be careful with that. It's really important, right? It's a boost to their self-esteem to actually do something with their creation and not just write beautiful and excellent, right? So it's something more we are doing with their creation if we ask them to use them and put them into practice. Another activity that I usually do is to work with beginning, middle, ending that I will show, or introduction, development, and conclusion of the narrative, and story corners. So as I'm left-handed, I'll start by the last one. Story corners, picking the illustrations or the bits of sentences. I'm working with pictures because it's for always with the lowest level of competence or performance of the students. This is easier. It's easier to ask them to write or discuss or debate. So what can we do when they cannot write much or speak much? So you place the pictures or the sentences or whatever they have created into different parts in the classroom, and then you start telling, and they have to walk and stand by that picture or under that picture. You can ask them to walk, you can ask them to hop, to jump, to run. It depends on the space you're working in. And then you can pass on the leadership to another student who would be the storyteller, telling different parts, and the class responding, the rest of the class responding, right? So it's in a way revisiting the story. The story structure, I use 3 big planks. It can be cardboard or anything. We decide what color is beginning, what color is middle, what color is ending, and they have to place their creations on the block they consider this belongs to. This seems to be very simple, but it's paving the way for future writing skills, right? To know the structure of the story. There is a beginning, there is a middle, there is an ending. With more advanced students, we have nice debates about if it's the end of the beginning or the beginning of the middle, and so on and so forth. But it's in a way to work with the structure of the story and of narratives. Yeah, some people also give
Fabiana?
I'm finishing.
Sorry
Should
to
I be
interrupt. Yeah,
finishing?
2 minute warning. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
So some people also add one more, that is peak of tension, right? And so, yeah, you see, was just the last slide. Will
You were.
I
I
would
just saw that. Yeah,
I would love to finish with this beautiful quote by Nancy Duncan, a storyteller that passed away not many years ago. And she said that problems are not going to be solved until we sit down with someone and listen to their stories. When we really know somebody else's story, we can't, there is a slip there, hate them anymore. It's a wonderful tool for peace. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the story and the activities, and put them into practice.
Thank you so much, Fabiana. Absolutely wonderful.
I'll stop sharing. All right.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Really, just thank you so much for giving us your sort of passion. You can feel it. You can feel it through your
Yeah, well,
storytelling.
it doesn't
Fabiana.
work. If not, it won't work. It won't
Exactly.
work.
Do you do
Okay.
online training like this? So you do it quite a lot online. You can you've got quite a lot of.
I learned it dramatically with COVID-19. From one
Wow.
day
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
other, I
right.
had to find things and explore and experience as usual what works and what does not work.
Right. Well,
Okay.
it worked today, Fabiana. If that helps you at all. Thank you very much for putting it together, Fabiana.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, so it's me for a sec. How's everyone doing? You enjoying yourselves? Let's hear some hurrahs or whatever you like. Or no, I'm not enjoying myself. Something. Say something. Let's go. Warm your fingers up a little bit. Good, good, good. I'm about to talk about something. I've just seen Miriam's name. I'm just about to talk about something which involves Miriam, and it involves Susan Hilliard, who is there in the chat, and it involves Ben Crystal, who is also backstage. I'm about to tell you something very, very exciting. I hope you're excited. Are you ready and excited? Are you ready and excited? If you're ready and excited, say yes or yes, yes. I'm not cold, Douglas. I'm actually I'm just wearing this as a bit of a, it's a winter fair. So you'll notice that Louise is wearing a little thing around her neck. Greg's got the glasses. I've also got glasses. I'll go for the glasses. I've also got, it's just a winter fair vibe. Just going for winter fair, really. Because it's called the winter fair. So we thought we'd just snuggle up a little bit. That's why I'm wearing this scarf and these silly glasses. So I've got something to tell you. Can I have a drum roll? Here we go. Can I have a drum roll, please? So type, what words to you mean a drum? Miriam, thank you. That is amazing. I'm going to do it as well. That's my drum roll. Let's have a drum roll from everyone on your keyboards. Go, 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 go. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Nice, 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 nice. That's it. That's it. Nice. Okay, drum roll. We're ready. And then I need to click a million things. It's going to be a slight anticlimax. It's not going to be anticlimax at all. This is what I have to show you. There it is. Global Teachers Festival 2025 is open for registrations. Beatrix, you can leave if you like. You might want to wait for just this one little bit if you can make it. Don't worry if you can't. Anyway, Global Teacher Festival's back. It's our 5th Global Teachers Festival. We've done 5 of them. That means we've done nearly over 100 different talks. 100 different talks at the Global Teachers Festival. And that's our lineup. You can see it. Sorry, that's our lineup up there, wherever you can see it. There. There? Yes. No, there. That's our lineup. So Miriam Monterrubio, you are here. Susan Hilliard, you are there. You're in the chat box. You are one of our speakers with your daughter, your wonderful daughter, Sarah, who I'm filming with in London tomorrow, awesomely. We've got Ben Crystal, who is backstage, and he's closing today's event as well. And we've got hopefully loads of other people there that you recognize and love and know, and you've seen their speaking before. If not, you're in for a treat. They're all very, very good. They've been picked for a reason. Because they've shown extraordinary talent at teacher training and at speaking and giving advice and presenting advice to people. And it's going to be a really, really cool festival. Here's a bit of what you've got to look forward to. Here's week 1. We've got Ben and David and Susan and Sarah opening it up for us, Susan. I know, Susan, isn't that cool? I'm filming with Sarah tomorrow. And then I'm with Harry doing a sort of a live podcast. I'm not going to go into this, actually. I'm not going to list all this out. You can see it. I'll leave it up there while I sort of chat away a bit more generally about the festival. Each day's got a theme: conversation, well-being, critical thinking, learning journey. So that's kind of a combined couple of talks together there. That's week 1. You can see all this on the website if you want to click the link there. And then we've got week 2. Characters with Miriam, the lovely Miriam Monterrubio. Color, iGeneration, the digital realm, and neurodiversity. So we got loads. There is loads and loads going on here. That is a total of 21 talks, 25 speakers, 10 days, 2 weeks. I won't go into hours, but it's a lot. And I can't wait. It's the highlight of my year. And we've just literally opened it today. We've opened it for registration. And just to make things that much easier for you, if you like, I'm aware that I'm very dark. I'll turn the light on before I come back on again in a minute. So to make it easier for you, Evelina, hold off for a second. Don't bring it up yet. I just want to make sure everyone knows what they're about to see before we bring it up. In a moment, you're going to see a poll. You're going to see a poll coming up on the screen. And that is going to be your opportunity to single click register, to easy register, basically. We're just doing it today, just in case people wanted to do it this way. In a minute, you're going to see a poll that comes up. And if you say, yes, register me for the 10 a.m. slots, or yes, register me for the 2 p.m. slots, or yes, register me for the 9:30 p.m. slots, UK times. If you click that, we will register you for those slots. So please do be careful when you click this poll. It's not just an opinion poll. It's very much, if you select that, you will be registered for the festival under the same terms as the Winter Fair. We've got all of your information from when you registered already, so we don't need to do it again. So when it pops up, just be aware of that. If you want to easy register, just click the button yes and choose the time that you want. Okay, Evelina, I think I've primed them. That's the most warning I think I'm capable of. There we go. So you should see the poll up on your screen now. If you want to register, just say yes 10 a.m, yes 2 p.m, yes 9:30 p.m. And we just wanted to make it a bit easier for you in case you wanted to just go, yeah, just sign me up for that. I'm in. And I'll leave that up for a moment. So yeah, loads of... Oh, Evelina, sorry, can you put that back on a minute? I think she accidentally turned it off. One second. You're very welcome, Juliana. There we go. It's up again. In case you didn't do it the first time, it's up again there. I will go back just so that you can see week 1 and week 2. So Sarah and Susan, Paula Assad, and we've got Bulo as well. So they were both speakers at our New Voices in September. Emma Reynolds, so she'll be doing a session on meditation. It's actually a session about, it's practicing meditation in that session. There probably will be some takeaways, but it is a session of the festival just for you as teachers to sort of use as a moment to meditate and to be mindful for 30 minutes, followed by how you can do that in the classroom by Lorena. Then we've got Rose Aylett, who closed IATEFL UK this year with a fantastic talk on critical reading. And she's following on from that, doing a talk on reading, but looking at all the text that people are exposed to and being critical of that text that people are exposed to on social media, on the internet, everywhere. journals. Anyway, and then Cheer Suan Chong, one of our faves. Cheer Suan Chong is back to do critical thinking skills for university students. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that anymore. That's great. Thank you very much. Let's end the poll there, Evelina. I think I've babbled on enough about that. I hope you're excited. And we'll see you at the Global Teachers Festival. Okay. Mr. Harmer, are you there? He's going to be there in a second. I know he is. He was backstage just a second ago. And so, Jeremy Harmer, who knows Jeremy Harmer here? Let's just see a show of hands. Say yes in the chat box if you've heard of Jeremy Harmer. Thumbs up, Jeremy Harmer. What a hero. I know Uncle Jack, huh? What a hero. Here he is. I see him. We're just going to wait for Evelina to plonk you on the stage, Jeremy. I can see you. Read his book, Shabir. Haven't we all? Where is he? Evelina's just putting him on now. It's very dark where I am. I'm very sorry about this. It's just literally, it does that in the UK this time of year. It just suddenly goes, boom, it's dark now. And I haven't turned my lights on. Evelina, do you mind putting on? I can't see. There we go. Just come in. There we go. Hi, Jeremy.
Well, hello. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
It's very nice to be here.
Great,
Hello,
great to see you.
Forgive me. You can hear I've got a typical English winter cold. You can hear my voice is very husky, which isn't going to help me with some of the things I'm going to do in this talk, but we'll do the best we can, you know.
You're a bit hoarse, Jeremy. Maybe it'll make your voice better. It does make people's voices better sometimes, doesn't it?
Matter of opinion, to be honest. I was thinking, Will, something you probably don't know, which was that the first book I ever had published in, the first two things I ever had published in my life as an ELT writer were published by Macmillan. Decades and decades ago now, but
decades and decades.
Yeah, well, let's not go into that. You know, I'm still alive.
I was going to ask. I won't ask.
I don't.
What were they called?
Well, one was a record of language teaching songs called English Tea.
Okay, brilliant.
And the other was a reader, which Macmillan chose the title, and it was called I Spy.
Aha, okay.
Which was not, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But that's how I started in this. In
Your first publications.
Yes. Yeah.
Good to hear, Jeremy. Well, it's good to have you back. It's good to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
I'm going to hand over to you. Have a lovely session. This is beautiful, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the other side. I'll just stick around to make sure that you can share your slides, okay, Jeremy? Because you had a bit of issue in the first ones.
Right, let's see if that's working. Is that working?
I can see that. Yeah. We just need to full screen it, and then that's perfect. That's exactly right.
Right. Right. So, have I got the green light?
Yep. Absolutely perfect, Jeremy.
Shall I get started?
You're good to go.
Yep.
Come in here, you're welcome. Sit yourselves down. We'll keep you safe from danger. You can call this place your home. 'Cause when we sing together, you will never be alone. Yes, when we sing together, you will never be alone. Now, why don't you sing along with me? Admittedly, I won't be able to hear you, but sing as loud as you can without waking the kids up or whatever it is that's going on in the house. Come on in, you're welcome. Sit yourselves down. We'll keep you safe from danger. You can call this place your home. 'Cause when we sing together, you will never be alone. Yes, when we sing together, we will never be alone. Well, the message of that is fairly clear, I guess. This is a talk about the joy and efficacy of doing things together. And we will come to talk about language teaching and language learning in a minute. But before we do that, I'd like to show you a picture. Here is a picture of the Cambridge Philharmonic Society at a recent concert in Saffron Hall in the east of England. And Simon would be pleased to know that we had just done a live performance of a concert performance of Puccini's Turandot Overture. All the people in the front row are doing it because it's their job. All the people behind them, you can find me in there, but you'd have to look very carefully. I'm in the orchestra somewhere. We do it because we love it, because the joy of making music together is so special. And what is it about making music together? And I'm going to concentrate on music rather than playing sports or acting or all these other things, but I'm going to concentrate on music. What is it? Why do we do it? What does it do for us? Well, forgive me for this coughing. It appears to be really good for our kind of cognitive and social engagement and power. It gives us verbal and cognitive flexibility in order to be able to do that, in order to be able to play like that and work with other people. It's very good for our social well-being because we all have to do it together as if we were one family, one brotherhood, one sisterhood. And it's very good for our emotional well-being. Why? Because you can't perform properly without getting an endorphin rush. Boom! It's wonderful. So yes, music, making music together, when we sing together, we will never be alone. Now, in today's world, there are dangers that we forget that sometimes. This article caught my eye in the newspaper I read here in the UK. And it essentially worries that children on their own with their little mobile phones, buzzing away, messaging away on their mobile phones. The worry about that is that, except kids don't do that, do they? They do it with two thumbs. But I've never actually mastered that. But anyway, the worry is that when they're isolated on their own, maybe in their bedrooms, maybe, it can be very alienating indeed. Indeed, thinking about children, we've had an experience of that kind of alienation recently. COVID-19 and lockdowns had a profound impact on children and young people. So much so that when schools reopened and primary teachers accepted new students into their classrooms face to face for the first time in a couple of years, they found that the children were less social and sociable than they ever had experienced, because for those years of lockdown, those months of lockdown, they'd been stuck in their houses without the great glory of schooling, which is teaching children how to be together, how to be with your brothers and sisters, how to hug people, not literally, but how to hug people and be together. And as for teenagers, poor teenagers, just at the age when they should have been doing what teenagers do, and which us parents don't especially want to know about, just like we didn't want our parents to know what we did, they couldn't. So it had a really a negative impact, it seems. And the thing that people were denied most was being together, hugging people, just hanging out with people. And yes, of course, we did it on Zoom. English language teachers were phenomenally creative in the way they managed to adjust to the online world. I'm blown away by what happened. But it was bad and alienating. Whereas, oh, and somewhat, by the way, the other people who suffered, who suffer from that kind of alienation and isolation, are quite often old people who live on their own. And we know very well that living on your own is almost as dangerous as having cancer or some disease like that. It can have a really bad effect on people towards the end of their lives. But here's an article from the University of Oxford, which is quite clear. It says, join a choir because it improves your health, your happiness. It's a perfect icebreaker, gives you that social and emotional well-being when you do things together. And of course, if you're old, it's very good for all those things we said, but it also it greatly improves your lung function, your breathing and your performance, and also very good for your posture and mobility, things which are under threat for older people. So that's my thesis. Doing things together works. Now, a quick word about me to explain why I'm going to focus so much on music. Up there, top left, you'll see what I've been doing for a long time now in my life as an ELT professional. It's a life I love and have.
I'm awfully sorry, Jeremy, but some people have been asking to possibly up the volume a little. Is there a chance for you to turn up the volume?
How does that go?
Oh, that's perfect.
Sorry everybody. It's bad enough. My voice is pretty wrecked anyway because of this cold.
Yeah, really loud.
Okay, so if you didn't hear everything I've said,
Jeremy, sorry, that is a bit too much. Actually, that's really loud. That's really loud.
But everybody can bring down, that
what
volume.
about that? What about that?
I think it's perfect.
I mean, it's good for me. I can hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if you didn't hear any of the first bit I said, it doesn't matter. I'm sure it wasn't that important. So a quick word about me then. Top left, that's me doing what I do in my professional life. I think that was at a conference, if I recall, at a conference it might have been in Santiago in Chile, I can't remember. Anyway, because I've been an ELT professional all my working life. But all the other pictures show the other 50% of my life, which is so important to me. The orchestra one I showed you already. Bottom right, there I am playing double bass with a whole lot of friends. I'm not really a double bass player. What I really am is a guitarist, as you can see from the bottom left. So music is at least half of who I am. I mean, in those kind of terms. That's why I'm doing this talk. But let's move away from music just for a second and talk about teachers and classrooms, the world we inhabit, the world we need to work with and in. Well, a long time ago, Williams and Burden said, teachers need to encourage in their own classrooms a sense of belonging to a team or community, just like an orchestra, just like a folk group, just like, I suppose, a team or anything else like that. That sense of belonging is so critical and so crucial to successful human interaction. Rose Senior says, learning takes place most effectively when language classes pull together as unified groups. In other words, learning takes place most effectively when we do it together. It's really powerful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a bit of music and show how, even if you're not making the music, because maybe music isn't your thing, even if you're not making music, you can really get students working together. Here are the lyrics of a song. Each one, A, B, C, D, E, is a verse of the song. You divide students into 5 groups. Each group gets one of these. And they have to work out in their verse what order the lines go in. And of course they won't be absolutely sure because it doesn't have a rhyme scheme like some poems do, but they do their best to work out what it is. And then they hear the song, which is what you're going to do. Here it is. She stands there in her summer clothes, a lightning breeze which ripples through her hair, curl you on the wing and all around. the melodies that nature plays. A hint of jasmine help the sweet earth sing. The drying grass is swaying tall, a hint of what's to come. Then clouds come from nowhere to hide the sun. Autumn mists grow drear and cold, and the year once young has now grown old. All nature hangs its head and sleeps, as all around their winter comfort keep. For a future that's so clear and bright, it's the hope that gets us through the long cold night. That gets us through the long cold night. The long cold night. Do 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 do. But spring will come again. The green fuse through the eager earth. Berries on the vine, the rushing water in the brook, the sunlight on the singing stones, and a world that seems full of time. So we will go across the meadow, dreaming of a better air to breathe, and hold on to the hope that we will never have to leave. Hold on to that hope, just like your father's prayers. Keep the living good, as our mothers once did there. All can be different, it doesn't have to be the same. Will it be the same? Ooh. Autumn mists, summer close, winter cold, but we're still here. 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 So that's a song I wrote called Still Here. Now, the students have now think they've got their lines in order, but they correct them as they listen to the song. The 5 groups have to stand in different bits of the classroom, get themselves in the right order. And then when we've done that, we can get on to something which is really good fun. It's the simple thing of creating a word map. Each group gets a season or some other aspect of the seasons. And then they have to build a word map on the board of all the words they can think of, and then we have a chance to interact. And the sense of community, of doing it together when you do that kind of thing, is absolutely inspiring. It's wonderful. It's something we achieved together, me and my fellow students, and it's worth doing. Now look, I just happen to enjoy writing songs and singing and stuff like that. It's something I do. But not all teachers like it in the same way. You might not be particularly keen on it. And of course you can take this sort of thing through into by using videos or audio stuff as well. That's not the point. But there's another way you can do it as well. Let's talk about AI. How does that sound? Can you see that? I hope you can see that. Artificial intelligence scares some people, fascinates some people, inspires some people. We use it all the time already, by the way. And there are worries about it. There are worries about whether it's going to take away the songwriting power, or the fact that I write novels, or all the stuff we do creatively. Is artificial intelligence going to take that over, or maybe it's going to destroy us all, because artificial intelligence will rule the world? Although I could say things about that, but the clock is ticking, so I won't. But here's a way of using artificial intelligence with music. How about this? So we get students in the class and we have a discussion, and we decide what makes a good song. Maybe 4 characteristics, 5, something like that. And they have to agree on the 5 characteristics that make a good song. Is it the rhythm? Is it the words? Is it the melody? What is it? What makes a good song? Is it the age of the people singing? Probably not old blokes with guitars, but that's another story. When we've done that, we decide on a topic for a song. And then students get into groups, and each group has to write prompts for AI. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't have time to go into it, but essentially you can only make AI work for you if you tell it what to do, and that's the prompt you give it. And the better the prompt, the better result you will get. That's a whole other discussion. But basically, each group writes a prompt for AI to create a song. Now, we have chosen the topic of the seasons, just like my song was about the seasons. So I gave AI a very basic prompt. I said, could you write me a song about the seasons, folk music style, include humans in it and stuff like that. It wasn't a very good prompt. Anyway, each group does that. They write their prompts, and then they get their song. Takes less than a minute. And when they've done that, then we listen to all the songs that each group has chosen, and they'll be different because they will have prompted differently. And then we choose which one we think is the best. Here's what AI did for me. I have a feeling I got the words slightly wrong, but anyway, these are the words that AI gave me. And I'm worried now about whether I click the sound. We'll find out in a minute, and Will or Regos or someone will tell me if the sound doesn't come through. Are you ready for that, guys? Will you tell me if it doesn't come through?
I will.
Okay, here we go. Yes or no?
Yes.
Summer sun on flower fields, children's laughter, the joy it yields, golden rays on skin so warm, nature's dance, a timeless charm, autumn leaves in whispered flight, painted skies, a fiery sight, farmer's harvest, the weeping done, crisper bites, night's bid begun. Turning of the wheel we know, cycles come and cycles go, seasons part and then they sing, whispers of a coming spring. Winter's breath on frosted panes, snowflakes falling, whispered names, fireside tales, the old brigade, dreams of seeds in earth conveyed.
I'm sorry, I've got the words wrong.
Springtime buds and morning dew, life renewed in colors true, birds return, the song persists, in each bloom a stolen kiss. Turning of the wheel we know, cycles come and cycles go, seasons.
Oh, hell's bells. I didn't mean to cut it off like that. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, teacher is a klutz. Teacher's just made a mistake with technology. Teacher must be hauled before the teacher's inquisitorial board and punished. Sorry. Anyway, you get the point. The point is, AI has created a song. Did you like the song? I don't know. What do you think of it? Any good? I can't really see the chat box, actually. Let's see.
It's lots of yeses, Jeremy. I loved it. I think it's a nice little track.
It's not a little track. The only problem is I've tried to get AI to write me songs before, and they all come out pretty much the same. And they're obviously not nearly as good as mine. So there we are. Let's just agree with that. Now, the point of this is with AI, you can make it better or worse depending on the prompt you give. So you can actually say to students, tell it the words you want it to include, what vocabulary are you interested in, so on and so forth. Right. So that's AI. And look, guess what we just did? We created an instant lesson with no preparation at all. And the students did it together. The groups together created this thing. I think that's quite a powerful tool. Right. This is what we're going to next, very quickly, before the very last activity. This is one of my favourite poems by Derek Walcott, a Caribbean poet. Broad sunstone beaches, white heat, a green river, a bridge, scorched yellow palms from the summer sleeping house, drowsing through August. Days I have held, days I have lost, days that outgrow, like daughters, my harbouring arms. I love it for all sorts of reasons. If you've come across me before, when I've done talks, you might have seen me work with this. What do I get people to do? Well, you put students in groups. Each group, every member of the group gets this poem. They are told they have 20 minutes, and at the end of 20 minutes, the group has to perform the poem to the rest of the class. They can sing it, dance it, illustrate it, do it in chorus, do it individually, word by word. The main thing is that each person has to take part. It's the best activity I know. I learnt it from Alan Pulvis and Sarah Mount, and they learnt it in turn from Alan Maley. I've done it with students, with teachers in training, with experienced teachers, and I'm going to show you a picture now of a group from the Universidad de Ciencias Pedagógicas in La Habana, Cuba. So here's these Cuban university teachers. Here they are. They are performing that poem. It's awe-inspiring. And the really funny thing is that when they start, at the beginning of the activity, they're kind of laughing, making a joke of it. Oh, this is silly. But by the time the performance comes, they have all committed together as a group. And they're very proud of what they've done as a group. And look what they're doing. They're having the best time of their lives. Isn't that a wonderful experience? Right, nearly time to go. This is how we started. So let's go for it then. Here we go. And join in the chorus. Come in, you're welcome. Sit yourselves down. We'll keep you safe from danger. You can call this place your home. 'Cause when we sing together, you will never be alone. Yes, when we sing together, we will never be alone. When you've landed in a country where you really want to be, and you're standing in a passport line, and you're thinking of the arms that are waiting to enfold you, and you hope they'll let you in this time. No one's ever threatened me or tried to do me harm from the point of a bayonet or gun. Never had to leave my home and everything I loved to find another place, somewhere to run. But others, well, they travel 'cause they have to. They face fear and danger, war and tyranny, and all they want is a place to live in freedom as they cross the searing desert, restless sea. But me, hey, well, I travel 'cause I want to. I've been here and there, been taken everywhere. I'm lucky and I know it, and I thank my lucky stars as we reach another city, place or town. So if someone is trying to put up walls, it's our job to tear them down. Come in here, you're welcome. Sit yourselves down. We'll keep you safe from danger. You can call this place your home. 'Cause when we sing together, you will never be, I'm nearly finished alone. Yes, when we sing together, we will never be alone. Yes, when we sing together, we will never be alone. That's an excerpt from from a song of mine about a topic which concerns me greatly. It's to do with refugees and people fleeing. Anyway, but that's enough of that. My point, the whole point of this session has to be to talk about the joy and efficacy of doing things together, whether it's singing a chorus song, playing in an orchestra, playing in a team, doing a poetry activity together in class, anything which brings people together to achieve a common goal and gives them the big hug is a good learning activity. And if you couple what I've been saying together with Simon's wonderful opening talk, and boy, he sang Wagner pretty well, I thought, didn't you? Pretty good voice, that guy. And Fabiana's whole point about the communal experience of listening to a story, especially with kids, listening to stories together. That's what we need, and that's the best way of learning. Now, I'm going because I've done my bit, but all I can say is you have no idea how lucky you are, because you're now going to listen to the wonderful Ben Crystal, and he will entrance you, as he always does. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, before we do, however, I just want to say that just look at all the hearts, Jeremy. I think it kind of says it all. We're all really moved, and the only thing I can add, if I can add anything at all to this incredible performance, is that it really takes a performer. It takes wisdom and experience to imbue this wonderful content with so much extra meaning, and I think we all felt this. Thank you for that. And
thank you very much. And can I just apologize for my singing voice is actually better than this.
Don't.
Normally I don't have a winter cold, you know.
There's absolutely no need. And now that we could hear the guitar so much better than we could in the morning, it added, just so much more magic to this. Thank you, sir. It's a privilege to be hosting you, and I wish we could talk more, but I am also aware of the time pressing, so I'm going to ask. Well, thank you once again, and thank Ben, and ask Ben to come up on stage. Ben is such a regular in our Macmillan events that it feels like he hardly requires any introduction at all. But I will say it anyway. He is an incredible performer, one of the most fantastic promoters of Shakespearean theatre that I can think of these days. He's also done some tremendous work on what is now come to be known as original pronunciation, which is, as I learned from him, the way that things sounded when Shakespeare pronounced them. Absolutely fantastic work. Look it up on YouTube. It really just puts on such incredible color on those verses that we all know. But tonight he's here with us in his storytelling and magic weaving hat on. And I'm speaking from experience because we all heard him in the morning once. So without any further ado, to use a little bit of the bard, over to you, kind sir. And I know you're all for a fantastic treat to finish off the afternoon. Thank you. Floor's yours, Ben.
Thank you so much, Grzegorz. It's such a delight and pleasure to be at the Macmillan English Winter Fair and to be with you all out there today. Hey everyone, I hope you've had some good sessions already with Simon and Fabiana and Jeremy, and I'll be with you we're running a little bit over, about 10 minutes over. I'll be with you for 20 minutes, so I'll finish talking just before the hour. And if you can't stay, then the talk will be recorded. And for those of you that are coming to the Global Teachers Festival in February, I'll look forward to seeing you all there too. But this is a talk about performance. It's like the rest of the sessions, really. And when I was asked to give this talk, and I thought about what what moment of performance really sort of stands out in my life? And it wasn't the first time I performed, but it was the first time that I performed Shakespeare. I grew up doing musicals in high school. But the problem was I found out quite quickly that I wasn't the strongest singer in high school. And so in the musicals, they would give me all the character parts, really, all the speaking roles. So we did Oliver, the musical, and I would have all of these roles. I'd have like 5 roles to play, and so I'd get a wig on and a beard and a walking stick, and I'd come on as the old man and walk past, and then I'd run off stage and get the wig off and get the beard off and put some mud on my face, and then come in as the chirpy young man. And after one of the shows, a director came up to me and she said, listen, we're going to make a new amateur dramatics company, and we're going to do Shakespeare's The Tempest. Would you come and audition? And I said, no, I don't want to do that. Now, Gregor's said very kindly that I've been doing a lot of work in Shakespeare in my life. And I have to be honest with you all right now. When I was in school, I hated Shakespeare. I could not stand his works. I didn't understand them. They didn't resonate with me. And so when the director asked me if I wanted to audition for The Tempest, I just said, no, that's not for me. And she said, no, please come. So I did, and she cast me. She gave me one of the lead roles. She asked me to play Ariel in The Tempest. Now, for those of you that don't know the play, The Tempest is one of Shakespeare's last plays. It's set on a desert island. It features a magician, a wizard, Prospero, the wizard, and his daughter, Miranda, who's like a princess, I suppose. And the king and his son, the prince, and their friends all get shipwrecked on this island, and the story unfolds. Also on the island with Prospero is Ariel, the spirit of the air, a magical creature, and Caliban, who's not so magical, but is described as a sort of half man, half fish, half man, half fish, son of a witch. Yeah, that's son of a witch. Yeah, I got cast as the spirit of the air. And as happens in amateur dramatics, we rehearsed for about 10 weeks. We rehearsed a few hours every Monday night and every Thursday night. And it was wonderful seeing all of my friends and colleagues, and my parents were in the show as well. My mum played the Princess Miranda. My father played Gonzago, the counselor. And I saw everybody take on their characters. And I was really panicking because I just turned 17. I just passed my driving test. I just gotten contact lenses instead of glasses. And I was nervous about my friends coming to see this show and coming to see me as this spirit of the air because I couldn't fly. And I spent weeks in rehearsal. I mean, you know, like if someone says to you, go on, you know, be a creature that can fly. I mean, what would you know, could you sort of, I mean, you know, you can meditate for the next 10 years, but you're never going to levitate. And I was hideously embarrassed. I thought, my goodness, all my friends are going to come and I'm not going to be able to play this part. And I knew, though, in amateur dramatics, it happened in the musicals, that oftentimes the characters really come alive when you get hold of the costume. And in amateur dramatics, you don't usually get the hold of the costume until the dress rehearsal. And the dress rehearsal usually takes place the night before the first public performance because everyone is running late, the costumes are running late, the lights are running late. The dress rehearsal is usually the time when everything is in place for the first time. And I drove to the theatre. I've just passed my driving test on the dress rehearsal night, and I arrived, and everyone was already in costume. My mum had a beautiful princess gown. Peter, who was playing Prospero the Wizard, had this amazing cloak with the magic sigils down it, and a hat and a staff. This was years before Dumbledore, but very Dumbledore-like, I suppose. And my friend Brian, who was playing Caliban, who'd had no trouble at all finding a character, a physical character for his part. Caliban is a half man, half fish, son of a witch. So, you know, you can sort of, if I'm a man, this is my man physicality. So if I'm a half man and like this, right, I'm sort of half, and then he's half fish. So I don't know, that's me being a fish, I suppose. And then son of a witch, I guess means he's evil, right? So half man, half fish, son of a witch, you know, was basically what Brian had been doing for the last few weeks. And when I walked in, they'd given him this like fishnet like this costume that came up over his face and disfigured him a little bit like the Phantom of the Opera, and this green makeup. Oh, he looked disgusting. He looked fantastic. And it really helped his character. And I went into the dressing room, and I was so excited because it was one of those dressing rooms with like the light bulbs around the mirror. And my name was next to one of the light bulbs. And I looked for my costume. And underneath my name was a handkerchief. This is a handkerchief. And my first thought was, how am I going to put this on? Fortunately, there was another handkerchief and a piece of string. And I thought, well, where am I going to put it? Because oh, not entirely true. Underneath the two handkerchiefs and the piece of string was a pot of gold paint. So two gold handkerchiefs, a piece of gold string, and a pot of gold paint. So I cover myself from head to foot in this gold paint and manage to tie on these handkerchiefs in a way that modestly, discreetly cover me and hopefully won't blow away, because we're performing this outside in North Wales in September, and it was windy, or rather it was drafty. So I cover myself in gold and wear gold. And of course, with my ginger hair, when I was finished, I looked like a candle, a lit candle. And, you know, funnily enough, it really didn't help me feel like I could fly. So the next night, I get to the theatre, and all my friends are there, and everyone's very excited, and I'm really nervous. And I'm not nervous because it's the first performance. I'm nervous because I just don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to fly? I know like which scenes I'm going to be in, and I know what I have to say, but how am I going to do it? The performance starts. There's a shipwreck, and then Prospero the Wizard comes on with his daughter, and they talk for a bit, and then she goes to sleep. And then comes my cue. Come, my Ariel, come, says Peter Prospero the Wizard. And I'm just off to the side of the stage, and I'm ready to go on. And I hear my cue. Come, my Ariel, come. My feet aren't moving. My feet aren't going anywhere. They're quite sensible. I hear Peter again say, come, my Ariel, come. And you can hear the tension in his voice this time. And I'm still not moving. I'm still not going anywhere, apparently. And then for the third time, and you can really hear not just frustration, but some worry in his voice now, Peter says, "Come, my Ariel, come." And evidently, whilst the rest of my body didn't want to go, my feet then decided that it was time to go. And I ran up this wall and down the other side, and I leapt over the front row of the audience. And the next thing I remember, it was the end of the show. The audience were applauding. And afterwards, we went backstage, and I looked to Peter and I said, "What happened?" And he looked at me and he smiled and said, "You flew." Now, of course, I didn't actually fly, but I did find myself in what we call a flow state. That state that you might find yourself in whilst you teach, or when you do sports, or engage in any activity where the sense of time and your surroundings sort of goes away. It was the first time that I'd understood Shakespeare. Before then, Shakespeare had been something that had lived in a book that had been badly read out loud to people that didn't know how to read it and people that didn't really want to hear it. But this was the first time. It was like electricity coursed through the plays. And I realized in that moment of that performance that Shakespeare, just like all theatre, doesn't really live until it has an audience to witness it. That magic combination of audience and artist, where one without the other is really nothing, no thing at all. That the audience are like the battery that lights up the entire circuit of Shakespeare, or indeed any theatre. Changed my life that day. The relationship between audience and artist, and like has been said earlier today, between class of students, cohort of students, and teacher. Simon said earlier that it's that unique rapport of engaging and creating a memorable experience that I recognize very strongly from a company of actors making a show, and I also recognize very strongly from the teaching experience too. That, as Jeremy said, you know, that team and the community that comes from a group of people coming together to make something special together, to learn from each other, really. Simon talked about the how of performance earlier and the how of teaching. And Fabiana really beautifully shone a light for us all to consider what story we might be telling. And think for a second about the story that I'm telling, not what I've been saying, but how I've been saying it. Look at the background that I have here. The books to one side of me and the plants and the Christmas lights. I very carefully decided to curate and orchestrate the lighting and the mood to back up the content that I wanted to share with you. And beyond the practical side of performance, being seen, so standing here rather than here, and being heard, speaking as clearly as I possibly can, rather than rushing or speaking too quietly. Aside from that practical side of things, the how of this performance, the how of my performance, well as the background and the mood, is my body language. I'm standing to give this talk. I want to be more actively engaged with you. I want to have a dynamic quality to this so I can really share with you the movement and the characterization and the flow that I was experiencing, not just to talk about flow, but to have flow in my body. I decided to put plants in the background to bring a natural touch. And if you were here this morning, you won't be able to see it now, but out of that window are the Welsh mountains to give a sense of scale, but also to give a sense of epic, that what we're talking about here is not just about how to bring performance into your life. We're talking really about how to inspire and set alight the hearts and minds of the next generation of who will hopefully do a better job of looking after this world than we've been doing. To bring in a natural element, to bring in an epic element, to consider the how, not just the what of performance. And some of the things that I've learned from performance, that I've brought into my life and I brought into my teaching too. I prepare for a show and a talk, but I don't plan it. When we rehearsed for 10 weeks doing The Tempest, we were learning choreography. We were learning the blocking, the movement of the play in every scene. On this line, I go here. On that line, you go there. The problem is, when you have a fixed plan like that, if something goes wrong, it's difficult to adapt. Let's say you have a lesson plan, but then you arrive at your class and something's happened to one of the students. Either they're very sad or they're very happy, but whichever, it doesn't quite fit with what you'd planned. If you've planned too carefully, you might not be able to pivot. But if you prepared well, if you have a tool bag of tricks and techniques to draw on, allowing you to shape the content to the class that's there today, that will be different, even if it's the same people, from the class that will be with you tomorrow and different from the class that will be with you, that was with you yesterday. This flexibility allows you to turn any obstacles that you might find yourself facing into opportunities. And that's the second thing I've really learned from performance. One, to prepare, not to plan, but the second, to be able in that flexibility to turn any obstacles into opportunities so that you can really play, I suppose, with your students and allow there to be more of a back and forth, to listen to them and where they're at, and turn any potential road bumps that you discover from where they're at today into the perfect opportunity for exploration. And of course, an obstacle usually is thought of as a mistake. We don't like mistakes. If someone comes on stage without the proper prop, everything grinds to a halt. Not so. In a more flexible way where mistakes can be improvised around. Mistakes are indeed opportunities. Without mistakes, we can't create. We have to dare to be vulnerable. We have to dare to be courageous. We have to dare to fail. We have to fail. We have to fail again. And we have to fail better, as the playwright Samuel Beckett says. That's where creativity comes from. To be able to try things and them not to work, to try them again and for them still not to work, and then to try them again and again and again until we find a way to break the new ground, to innovate, to create new things and new ways of doing things. That's a wonderful thing to inspire in our next generations, especially when so much of mainstream education punishes failure. If you fail, you're wrong. If you fail, you have to do more work. If you fail, you have to stay back after class. If you fail, you have to stay back the next year. No, we should be celebrating failure. We should be celebrating the innovation and creativity that comes from failure. We should be celebrating the flexibility in ourselves and in our young minds. And we should absolutely, in order to help them break new ground, in order to help them work out what they're going to do with their lives and how they're going to fix this world, we must absolutely provoke and push and pull out of them as much vulnerability and as much courage as we possibly can, to teach and inspire a new generation to dare to be vulnerable, to dare to be courageous, to dare to fail, and to dare to find out what performance, whatever sort of performance might come out of them. That would be a daring generation to witness. Thank you. Oh. Oh, look at all those hearts. Hey, everyone, back at you. So many hearts back at you all. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for listening.
Hard to
All right.
break that silence.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I was hoping someone did it.
No.
Thank
Well,
you, Ben.
Need to let it lie and soak it up.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure. Well, thanks so much for inviting me back. It's favorite time of the year, the Macmillan English Winter Fair.
Good stuff, mate. Me too. Me too. Well,
It's wonderful.
well, you're back at the
Education.
global.
Keep saying English, Macmillan Education.
Well, it's our fault. Macmillan English is the website.
True, yeah, that's why I remember it. That's true. Yeah.
That's why it's all mixed up. Yeah. Oh no, thanks so much, Ben. That was just awesome. So cool to watch you at work again. Just it's so just you sort of, what's the word? You're a part of the Winter Fair furniture. The four of us are, I think, right? The four of us are.
I was just going to say, are we a big couch? Are we sort of like four armchairs?
How many seats?
Is Gregor's a rocking chair? Like,
I'm going to be that bookshelf in the back. The picture of a bookshelf that you've hung on the wall.
Oh yeah, no, it is. That's just a picture. That's
just a canvas, isn't it? A canvas.
Hey, but you know what I think we should also say is that we've had an absolutely amazing participants tonight,
Yes.
and you know, all the incredible reactions that the chat just went
Yes.
red hot with comments and great ones, and you know, not just you know, token responses, but really meaningful reflections. So thank you guys for making it so special. It makes it so much more worth our while, everybody's while, to be doing this, knowing that it matters, and it's just you know, my favorite time of the year, work-wise, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So thank you guys for making it
Yes.
worth our while, really, and you know, not just saying that. Thank you.
Cheers, Greg. No, I appreciate it. I completely agree.
And if anybody has got hasn't got enough, then there's a third iteration very late tonight. We are back. What time, Will? Please remind everybody.
9:30. So we're back again at 9:30. This is our second. We're doing a third. As always, we're doing a third one at 9:30 until 11:30. But it's actually 10:30 to 12:30 for you two.
Yeah. Wow. What's an hour?
It's going to be a long evening.
Yes.
It's a long day, but it doesn't feel like that.
No, and we've got 4 hours now. We've got 4 hours to kick back a bit. Right?
Absolutely, yes. Get a shot of adrenaline.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you to Simon, Fabiana, Jeremy, and Ben for 4 wonderful talks, and for your love and passion that you put into your performances today. And we'll see you all really soon.
Yes. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Yes. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to everybody. Yes. See you soon.
Stay safe. Yeah, be lazy. Eat good stuff. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.